Seven means completeness, greatness, and perfection. On Saturday, the 31st day of May 2025, one of Nigeria's finest sports presenters said goodbye to radio after 7 years. And since then, it's been accolades, encomiums, kudos, and today we have the honor of having her speak to us about her journey on radio and how life has been with her in Abia. And there's also something she found in Abia which she would like to talk to us about. Join me in welcoming the one and only Precious Njoko, who is known as the sports diva. It's nice meeting you again, Presh, after that Saturday, which you got us all emotional, and it's nice to have you.
Thank you so much, Bethel. Well, I think we've gone past, the tears and everything. Right now, let's talk about what informed the decision after 7 years.
That's very important. Nobody expected that.
Yeah.
It came to all of us as a surprise. And on that Saturday, Mr. Godwin was with you on the show.
Yes,
and it came to him as a huge surprise. So what informed that decision, since you want to start from there?
Okay, so firstly, growth is inevitable. And if, as a human being, you don't have set targets for yourself, it'll be difficult for you to grow. So I actually have set targets for myself. In fact, I call it, like a friend will always say, develop a short-term plan, a mid-term plan, and a long-term plan. So the short-term plan is for 2 years. The mid-term plan is for 5 years. And the long-term plan is for 10 years. Meaning, where do you want to see yourself in the next 2 years? Where do you want to see yourself in the next 5 years? And where do you want to see yourself in the next 10 years? And you might not really actually, do everything you want to do in this period of times, but it actually helps shape your life and actually put your life on the right course. So I had a plan for my life, and it got to a point and I told myself, okay, I've actually done something for my short-term plan, my mid-term plan, and then the goal was now the long-term plan. And I knew I had to take a decision. And like to say, your comfort zone, it's your comfort zone. So for you to actually achieve success, you have to step outside your comfort zone. So I had to take that decision. I had my eyes on the long-term plan, and stepping out of my comfort zone was just the only way I could actually do that.
That's great. That's great. Let's talk about your stay in Abia, because I'm sure many people would like to hear about that. Before you came to Abia, was there any time, before you came to Abia to work actually, was there any time you came to Abia for anything else?
That's the funny thing. If someone had told me that I would see myself in Abia, I would obviously swear and say, hell no. Growing up back then, we used to have this notion of Abia being a very dirty place. Yes, about being a dirty place. It's not a place you want to be. In fact, it was not really like big to us growing up. We looked at cities like Enugu, Lagos, Abuja as the big cities. I never had plans of staying in Abia or working in Abia. But I actually used to have a family member stay here, more like my mom's sister. She had her family here. So I think I remember just once. I think we were probably traveling.
Okay.
So my dad said, okay, let's go through Abia so we could say hi to them and then continue our journey. I think that's the only time I came to Abia. Apart from that, hell no! I've never ever been to the city apart from that.
Wow. There's something called culture shock. I'm sure you really understand that.
Yeah.
When people go to a new place, they get this culture shock, this shock. Like, you came from Owerri to Abia.
Yeah.
And then there's something that happens, the atmosphere, the way people react in Owerri, and then you come to Abia to say, what am I saying? So what was that culture shock for you?
Plenty of them. I'm sorry to say this, but that's the truth. These are the few things I noticed when I came to Abia. I noticed, a little bit of people here had this I don't care attitude. Yes.
Okay.
It was high. And again, it was more like everybody did things out of the ordinary. Like, people were not following laws. So it was somewhat weird to me because where I was coming from, I'm not just saying that everything was perfect there, but at least we had this, little amount of orderliness where I was coming from. Where when you actually break a law, at least you're going to go get by with a fine. But I came to Abia, was everybody do as you want. The way, did I make bike when I came to Abia? I don't think so. But the way tricycle operators drive here in Abia, like, you want to ask yourself, hello, are you people normal? Is that you people drive here?
Do you have my life?
Oh, is that you people drive here? So I was like, okay. I mean, I have to adjust. Meaning, if I want to cross the road, I have to look like 5-6 times to be sure there is no crazy person who is driving against the traffic. So, a lot to say, but I don't want to, so it don't look like, oh, she had this, thing. But the truth about it is that a lot has improved. I'm going to give it to you guys. A lot has improved in Abia.
And we'll continue to do better.
Well, that's the truth. We hope to get to that point. Hopefully.
Yes, hopefully. So, how would you describe your 7 years in Abia?
Wow, that's a big word. In terms of work, is it in terms of personal life? Because if you want me to put it together, it's actually huge.
Okay, let's narrow it down to work.
Okay, work. It's been it's been quite an experience. I won't lie. My first workplace, Buzz FM 89.7. I'll always be grateful for 1,001 reason, because fresh from National Youth Service, 2017 December 2018, I got a job with Buzz FM. It was actually a very, very dreamy process. I'm about to say something that a lot of persons might not know. But it was a price I had to pay. Not just me, a lot of us paid the price. So when you actually look at us, we have marks. The marks might not be visible, but we actually know the marks that we carry. It's more like generals. Okay, when you look at their backs, you see the marks.
True.
Okay, the marks they have is as a result of rigorous exercises they've had to go through for them to attain to that rank of a general. So I worked in Buzz FM 6 months without pay.
6 months without pay?
Yes.
So how were you surviving?
That's the question. 6 months without pay. Big thank you to Mr. Stanley Ba. Yes, I'm going to say this. Mr. Stanley Ba, thank you so much, sir. I really appreciate. Back then, Stanley Ba was the news head before he became the station manager. So at that point, Stanley, I started. In fact, the funny thing is that the first day I actually came to Buzz FM, the first day I officially resumed work, I spoke into the mic, and as a rookie, someone who has never, ever done radio before, it was a huge one for me. So Stanley Ba drafted us to, I said us because it was not just me, drafted us to the newsroom, reporting. He taught me reporting, he taught me news packaging, he taught me how to take news. So that's what I'm saying. Thank you to Stanley Ba. And also to Cynthia Menego. Cynthia Menego, yes, also used to be a colleague back then. Cynthia also taught me, news reporting. She also taught me how to take news and also how to gather news. And when you listen to Cynthia read news, okay, there's this flair that comes with it. So I actually admire her for that. I know I might not have said this, but Cynthia Menego, I actually admire you for that. You were actually a huge inspiration to me. So back to Stanley. Stanley will take us on reportage. And at the end of the day, now, he'll be like, oh yeah, take this one. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
And again, support from family. That's the truth, because it was not easy for my parents to leave me to travel to Abia alone. Because all my life I've never been away from my family. So when I told my people that CEO, this is where I got a job, it was a difficult decision for them, especially my dad. My dad was like, how much are they paying you? Stay back here. I will pay you while we look for a job. Yeah, but they supported me, and as much as I didn't tell them that I was not getting paid, if not, they would have
called you back.
They would not call me back. My father would have come back to bring me back. Yes, that's how my daddy can be.
Okay.
So it was more like something they do. My dad would be like, oh yeah, I sent you money. I'll come and be like, Dad, you forgotten your baby. It's not fair. I think she send me pocket money now. They just send me money. They didn't know that the money they were sending at that point was very, very useful to me. And again, to my siblings, they also helped me. And the little I saved, while doing my National Youth Service course. So that was how I survived at that point.
That was a lot. And when you turn on the mic, you speak with so much passion, with so much professionalism, and people do not know these backstories.
The backstory, a lot of persons have asked that question. How did you start, talking sports? If I told you that growing up, I did dislike sport. I don't want to use the word hate because it's a strong word. I did dislike sports because it didn't make sense to me. The only time I think I sat down to watch anything football was the Super Eagles of Nigeria, and I was very tender at that point. I was watching because every other person was watching. It's not like me, I understood anything. But I grew up, being a home video girl, cartoon. I remember that it was 2006, vividly. I was in the sitting room. My mom, my dad, my siblings were all watching, a series on TV. My other brother just walked in. When you have another brother who is more like, he just walked in. Where's the remote? Where's the remote? He collected the remote. Boom! He put Arsenal and VRL. We were thinking it's just going to be a temporary something. Maybe after like few seconds, you allow us watch our movie. That was how. And you cannot talk because if you talk, you will not like yourself. Already, my mom and my dad were not talking. So who are you
to talk?
To now talk? And I was the last girl. When my elder sisters are not talking, who am I to talk? Everybody stood up, entered their room. They were just murmuring through the room.
Yeah.
And me, I told myself, since is this one I say, I want to watch television. That was I sat down and I watched Arsenal VRL. That was the first leg of the UEFA Champions League, 2006. That was the first time I took my time to watch a game of football. And ever since that day, it's been beautiful. Like everything, like I have this energy to watch. And then I started, noticing something. I don't just watch football for football's sake. When I watch football, I take a look at so many things. And my dad also noticed. So my dad always tell me, you're going to make a good coach. Because at times when we watch matches, I'll tell him, remove this player, bring in this player, bring in this player. It's going to change the outcome of the game. And the substitutions happen just like that. And my dad will look at me and say, what again do you even go to school to study? He will tell me, I just wasted school fees, but it's okay because at least you're speaking good English. I'll just hold on to that part. But that was just it for me. So that is a passion. That is where I got the passion from. It's not like I actually went to school to learn how to talk sports.
Okay, so your dad was or is proud of you.
Obviously, he should be. Like, he should be. I remember one time he called me on show. It was actually a very, very,
Your dad called into your show?
Yes. It was actually a very emotional moment for me. And I was just laughing. I was like, yeah.
I can only imagine.
Yeah. It was good hearing him call. So, the past 7 years in Abia has been awesome. From Buzz FM to Ingba FM. Moving from Buzz to Ingba was also another step of growth and progress. So that's why I said I have a plan. So everything was just working within, the short term, the mid-term plan, and the long-term plan. So moving to Ingba was also a different challenge altogether because it was different to what I experienced at Buzz FM. Because I remember the first meeting I had with Honorable Prince Paul Ikone Ogande Ogasa. It was actually a mind-blowing session. It was great. I met a lot of persons that I've not met before, and persons that I've been hearing their voices. For instance, Michael Oni. Yeah, he was actually one of those popular names there in Abia because of the political show he does. So getting to meet him, I've seen him once, but we were busy that day, so we only had time to even talk to anybody. And I know he doesn't remember though, but I did. We just greeted each other and passed. So that was me meeting him, and it was going to be a colleague. It was funny. I got to meet other persons, and I also want to say a big thank you to Mrs. Anastasia Odochi. Yes, I want to say a big thank you to Anastasia Odochi Kuchena. It was her recommendation.
Okay.
Yes, it was a recommendation. So thank you so very much. I sincerely appreciate that, ma'am, and I'm grateful, so grateful for that recommendation. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So going to Abia FM to work was a different ground altogether. You know, being a pioneer member of an establishment, it's actually not easy because you have to brainstorm,
Yeah.
you know, come up with programming. We spent days, weeks brainstorming on programming, trying to plan programs and everything. And it was fun because you get to share ideas with brilliant minds. So when we officially started, it was like boom, like it took the city by storm. Like it was crazy.
Everywhere.
Like everyone was like, Medro, that was exactly.
And the fact that Abia is actually called the A University, and then when Abia FM came, people felt this belongs to us.
And it did. It does belong to them because, you know, I'm going to talk about Abia FM basically because that was where I worked. Yes. As much as we had, you know, sister stations, Legend 98.3, and there rose, about Abia FM was where I was stationed. So Abia FM had three important things that actually defined us: the news, current affairs, sports, Igbo, and then, you know, these are the three quarters. We have other, you know, light programming just for, you know, light-hearted conversation. But these three things were so important to us that back then we had in a day we had about 2 hours 30 minutes of sports. Weekends we had about 3 to 4 hours of sports. That was how important, you know, it was to us. And then we had, you know, our current affairs program that was talk of the town because of the brilliant minds we had on the show then. So it's been amazing. 7 years has been 7 years of learning, 7 years of hard work, 7 years of tears. Don't just think that everything just happened. No, there were days I cried. There were days I didn't feel like continuing with the job. There were days I felt like I don't want to do it again. There were days I had people push me, I had people talk to me, and also there were days I just had to tell myself, this is it, okay? If you want to get to the next stage, you just have to conquer this particular, you know, level. So it's been 7 years of a lot of things, and the names are plenty. I'm going to get to the point where I'm going to mention a lot of names, like, but 7 years in Abia has been beautiful, very, very beautiful.
That's great. While we were talking a while back, I wanted to ask a question, but I forgot. I remember the first day I met you was at Abia, also when you were still working with Buzz FM. You came with Ojiofia to see a game between Abia Angels and Rivers Angels. It was a friendly game. And then Mr. Philip Badepo was there.
Yeah, the Grandmaster.
The Grandmaster. And then I was thinking, you got to this level because you had someone or some people who were experienced.
Yeah, that's true.
Ahead of you, teaching you to say, okay, you need to do this way, you need to do that way. Could you please tell us about the importance of mentorship when it comes to this job? Because sometimes people overlook mentorship, they overlook the input of veterans in this job.
Well, I would say something. If you actually want to go into broadcasting, especially when it has to do with, you know, very key areas like sports, news and current affairs, because these are areas that require deep analysis where you have to be very, very factual. You need a mentor. You need someone to look up to. You need someone that could actually tell you, see you're doing, you're not getting it right. And one of the, you know, foundations I had was the fact that I had veterans in the industry, people I called legends in the industry while starting up at Buzz FM. So when I say 6 months without pay, it was not just about the money. I gained something from them in those 6 months, and whatever it is I gained from them in those 6 months is something. If I want to pay for it, I would actually be paying through my nose to get that knowledge. But I got it free of charge just by being in the same environment with them. The Grandmaster, he will always say, I remember the first time I met him, you know, he said something when they told him she's going to be joining your sport. He was taken aback a little. He now said, okay. And I asked him, sir, please, can I get your number? He said, no. He said, by the time we do shows, like the third show, I'll give you my number. I looked him in the face, I said, I wouldn't need a third show to get your number, sir. You'll be the one to give me your number. Where the confidence came from, I do not know.
No.
But I know I said that to him. So that evening, I came back for the show. When I was introduced and everything, after the show, I came out to sit down with senior colleagues. I remember Seth Igwe, back then my head of program, said, "Thank you so much, you're amazing." Stanley Ba, Chinwanko, my station manager back then, and Philip Malebo. We were sitting down and talking because we were all like, "Wow, you did so well, it was a good outing." So Philip Malebo turned and gave me his phone. I said, "Put your number."
That was victory. Instant victory.
And I told him, "Sir, I told you I wouldn't do the second show to get your number." Say, "This girl, whoa, there was this Australian because but I would say it." So it was something else having people like that around you. It's very, very important. Very, very important. That I probably got to this point is because I had mentors around me.
Okay, lastly for today, let's talk about the challenges you face in a male-dominated field. I'm sure when you go out there, for example, when you go for games, if you go for Super Eagles game, Aimba games, you walk into the press box, you look around there, few ladies.
Yeah.
So what are the challenges?
First, like you said, it's a male-dominated industry. So if you want to be at the top and be recognized for your exceptional work, you have to be extremely, extremely good. So it was really challenging for me at times. When I actually meet, some persons at the top, it's more like they want to do trade by barter, and I'm like, this is not how I want to grow in the industry. I want to grow in the industry by my hard work and not probably cutting corners. So it was not really easy for me. But everyone was looking at me as a rookie. Well, now, if you look at me as a rookie now, it's not possible. Now, when I go for Super Eagles, they're like, "Oh, Presh, how are you? Alpha, stuff like that." It's not easy for ladies, the truth. It's not really easy for us. But at the end of the day, I'll always say this. It is important how you start. It is important, the target you set for yourself. And it's also important to actually do the hard work. Alright? There's no shortcut to success. I'll always say it on my show. There's no shortcut to success. You would have to grind hard to come up with a result. You have to work hard and also work smart. These are the two things that would actually help you excel in this industry.
That's great. Thank you very much, Presh, for your time today. I'm sure there's still a lot for you to talk to us about, and
I know.
we'll still have all that time.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of persons want to know what next, what happened, the Ava, did anything happen? Trust me, it was a lot. Good part for that matter. And people want to know, oh, are you traveling with your husband? How did you guys meet? How did it so happen? How did that happen? Don't worry. And like I said, lots of persons to say thank you to, but it would be so unfair of me not to talk about this person before we wrap up the story. Confidence form. I'll keep saying this. Have a confidence form at your corner. It's very, very important. Have her at your corner. And she knows I love her so much. Thank you so much. And again, have someone like Michael on me. Yes, so we can disturb, but in a good way. I'm going to talk about him also, but have these two kind of persons by your corner. And again, Bethel. See, these are persons that actually helped me when I came to this city building. They actually made me feel at home. See, Abia right now is home for me. Yes, it is. Mommy, Daddy, I'm sorry you're going to watch this video, but that's the truth. Abia is home for me. That's the reason I don't come home, because I am at home here and I don't really miss home. So.
Alright, there's still something you've not told us, and many things you've not told us, and we are willing to listen. Okay? So on Saturday, while you were rolling out names of people, you were saying this person has done this for me, this person has done that for me, you reserved the best for the last. And all of us were stunned when you said, and to my husband. Perhaps in the next episode, you tell us more about that husband, who he is, how you met him, and what influence he has been in your journey. And I'm sure many people were asking, the last time you went live on Facebook, they were asking, did your husband allow you to come on Facebook? Well,
what is this?
Your have the opportunity to say that again so that they'll hear it again.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Presh,
you. Thank you so
nice
much, Benjamin.
doing this with you.
Same here. It's a pleasure.
Thank you.